and welcome to another episode of A Ghost in the Magazine. I'm Stef.
And I'm Elle.
And I'm Nathan, I guess.
Identity crisis.
Yep, because I can't have a real name, so.
I'm Jack Megadeth.
I'm Ben. Yes.
I'm Ragu.
yeah.
Is that his name?
No,
Okay.
but I can't remember.
His
either.
name
I
is
literally don't know.
Radu, but it sounds like Ragu, and he has like weird dick fingers, and I think spaghetti sauce comes out of them, so it's okay.
That's what I thought it was initially, so I'm confused.
That's all I could think of, and I was texting Elle during the movie, and I know I said Ragu, and I was like, yeah, my bad, but it's going to stay that way. So we're back with another full moon movie, and it's Subspecies. But before we go into Subspecies, I need to mention Ooga Booga really, really quickly, because this came up in our last episode, Evil Bong, and it was one of the caricatures that came up in Stripper Purgatory, and I needed to get to the bottom of it because I needed to understand. And just as we suspected, it is a very not serious film, but on top of it being not serious, it is incredibly gross. I made it less than half an hour in, and it is so racist. It's so racist. And you know why that bothers me? Because you could do a little bit and still convey the same point. Because the situation with the dirty cop, this story is an African-American student. He's like a college student. He's killed by a cop. And one thing that I don't understand is that there's this horrible character called Hambo, and he's like an alcoholic old white guy who has like a TV show with kids, and he's got this gross pig nose that's part of his costume, and he was literally late to set because he was wanking it in his freaking room and like had no concern for the people coming in and like asking him what he was doing. And him and this black boy are friends, and I don't see how. So he calls him because he's like in a crisis because they want to fire him, and the boy comes to his rescue, and he's like, I know what's going to get me famous. It's these badass dolls that he's got, and they're all racist characters. One of them is a Chinese man with big teeth and a camera, and he's holding a steering wheel because you know they can't drive for shit. And I'm like, are you kidding me? He made the Ooga Booga doll, and this guy's just friends with him. It doesn't make any sense to me, and I couldn't keep going because it just felt like hot bubbly trash garbage.
Sounds like it. I had zero expectations. I didn't think you would quit, so the fact that it was gross enough to make you quit tells me something. We have all watched some grade A garbage, so if it's that bad, fuck that. Yeah, I'm not gonna watch that.
Did you watch any, dog?
No, I've seen enough full moon now for a while.
I think that Charles Band tries to be like an edgy bitch a lot. I could see him edging into something that is like actually explicitly racist, trying to be an edgelord, and that's the reason why we don't edgelord too close to the sun. You're the edgelord Icarus. Chill the fuck out.
I sincerely hope he sizzled a little bit for this, like bacon, because
that's a newer one too, ain't it?
I
2013.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's very interesting. All I'm going to say, and I'm going to say it with my chest, is that there are very few movies that I say you should just not ever fucking watch, and this is one of them. Come for me if you like it, and don't at me. You can keep that to yourself.
Just skip us altogether. Sexy new wave vampires, yeah.
You can slap a vampire sticker on anything, and I'm gonna watch it respectfully. And Elle already knew.
I kind of picked this one for that reason, because when I watched it, the three that I had in the running, I was like, well, Steph will actually enjoy this one, and she might have a crush on the vampire. The sexy one, not Ragu, of course. I mean, I think Ragu's sexy, but that's because I'm a trainer.
I mean, he's kind of, I mean, it's probably too graphic, but his hands can be used. Yes.
So my question, do the feet match the fingers? Do the toes match the fingers? Is he wearing clown shoes?
True.
That's what I want to know, because that would be more interesting.
That could be like a 20-person bang fest if you got that many dick fingers, dick toes.
I just want to see him like walk across some eggshells and rose petals. I'm not
Can
serious. I'm
you
not serious
imagine
at all.
the fingerprint things don't do the job, and he's like, all right, hold on, and he sits down and like unties the juice. It's like, all right, so fiends, do the thing. It's gross. He's gross. And if you don't watch the second movie, it's very confusing because I haven't watched the second movie, but he literally looks like a fungus. And he has these fingers, they fall off, and then they change these little tiny red guys with body yada yaddies.
They're just absolute dump trucks.
They're definitely sticky Dickersons, and they just do what he wants them to do. And I think that's pretty cool because if I had dick fingers, I would send them to do my grocery shopping for me while I waited out in the parking lot, not kill my father for a spooky ring pop.
His father, Nate so eloquently pointed out earlier, is the fucking tall man from Phantasm, which famous. I also like that Angus Shrem is his name, and he happens to be in both of the weird fucking finger movies because Phantasm to me is the fingers with the mustard blood that turn into flies.
Yes. Like all I can remember about Phantasm, besides the weird transformation scene post bang in the graveyard at the very beginning, that was weird.
Yeah. So this guy, he knows how to pick his roles. I will respect that.
He's typecast as the horror finger guy.
Creepy finger daddy.
So he wants the ring pop, which is the bloodstone. What does the bloodstone do?
I think that the reason Daddy King vampire uses it is because you don't have to suck any people's bloods because you're just drinking from the bloodstone and it makes you super strong vampire. But I don't think Ragu has any intention on stopping eating people. No. He likes to eat people. That's his thing. He's into that. It makes his
fingers larger.
It makes his fingers engorged.
The worst part about him is eating the fingers is when he does shit, he's like, ugh. He makes that weird sound. And
that's the bloodlust. It affects everybody differently. He obviously can't handle his drink, okay? Obviously. So he got banished for doing something naughty. And his brother was supposed to take the throne. And then this guy comes back and he's like, well, no, that's not going to happen because he's selfish. And he just doesn't want other people to have nice things. Obviously, that's what that is. So.
Well, I mean, he is cursed with the dick fingers. To be fair, this is definitely one of those characters where he is born evil because the reason he looks different from his high coif romantic movie syndrome brother is because his mom is an evil sorceress or some shit. And we see her in the second movie and she ain't got good genetics. She's not passing nothing good down. And Ragu kind of got shafted there. And I think he just didn't have a chance. He was born evil. It's kind of not a very compelling character in that way because I don't really think we have any reason. He's just a baddie and wants to eat his dad and his brother and sick his dick demons on the world.
Maybe he has a vitamin deficiency. Bitch syndrome.
But his brother doesn't, obviously. His brother is a fucking new wave dreamboat.
Was he studying animals? Was that what it was? I forgot.
Well, that's what he said, but he was studying Ragu. He was there studying nocturnal animals, but that's code for I'm hunting my brother.
I love that shit. I'm not gonna lie. Before we move on, I just want to say his fingers, the way he was acting with his fingers very much reminded me of the ladies who wear extra long acrylics and don't want them to break. So
also, when he gets upset, his fingers tremble. He's like, oh.
This is very sexual.
It is. It's very uncomfortable. I don't like it.
I don't like that either.
I did notate that when they get in a slap fight, the two brothers, and then the disheveled Santa comes to save the brother, and then Ragu recedes into some crevice going, oh.
Okay, so he's Zoidberg.
He's Dickfinger Zoidberg.
What a fucking weirdo.
Just how high were the writers?
I hope incredibly. Okay. I hope they fucking had an all day smoke-a-thon. Because if this was a sober thing, okay, so the whole setup, there's a group of women and they are studying.
They're folklore students that are trying to write their thesis or something like that. I don't know.
I want to be a folklore student.
Do you think Dick Fingers hates folklore and that's why he is murdering them?
I think Dick Fingers is hungry.
I think Dick Fingers can't fucking read and he's just jealous.
Can you read, my son? That depends. Can you go fuck yourself?
the women are studying and they end up in this fortress with a grumpy old dude. And I think it would be a really good opportunity. So they're just like living their best lives, but there's rules. Like they can't stay outside after dark. Like they have to be home. And like I already said when we did Midsummer, you won't catch me in a foreign country like that. Like respectfully, I want to see the world, but in places where it's safe for Black women to travel, okay, I can't. I don't want to end up some weird white guys experiment. I don't want to do that. So good for them. They're using the buddy system. I think that that's important. But they do tell them that there is this mysterious man who's also there studying, and that ends up being the brother. And literally when they introduced him, I was like, oh wow, Stefan, what a babe. And then I Googled him. And coincidentally, do you know what this actor's name is? Michael.
Not another Michael.
Another Michael. What's wrong with me? It's a disease.
Food Club Michael?
Oh, I forgot about Food Club Michael. I would eat a whole rotisserie chicken on the stage of Jerry Springer. I'm not gonna lie. He's kind of my hero.
Same.
No, they're not all toxic. Okay. Michael, the priest from the right, is a good man. So obviously one of the girls goes goopy for him. It wasn't me. But there was bound to be one of them. So one cool thing that I found out while I was Googling is that it was actually filmed on location in Romania. I had no idea. Visually, besides Ragu, I really liked this movie because there was this whole like sweaters and gold hoops aesthetic that I was really vibing. It looked like one of my Pinterest boards.
I liked it.
Ragu is a bitch, and he starts drinking from one of the girls.
She was like trying to get in the castle, and it was during the day that confused me because aren't they all sleeping during the day? And he's just like fucking strolling around.
He does it outside too. What the fuck is Ragu doing out? He's gonna get burned.
And he was like standing in the doorway at one point when the sun was still out, like it was going down or whatever. But like, so Vampire Chronicles vampires are like the standard for me, but for them, as soon as nature says it's sundown, like they go unconscious. They don't have a choice. Wherever they are, stop, drop, and roll. And they do not come to until the sun's gone.
I feel like Ragu's breaking some rules there. Does he bite her arm when it's in there? Is that what happens?
It's insinuated. It's such a stupid fucking scene. They're trying to break into the sacred thing. If you're in Romania and there's all these rules, you should be respecting your surroundings. And it's old. It's obviously culturally important to the people. It's some white people shit, sorry. But she like tries to break in there and sticks her arm in, and then she's like, ow. And then all of a sudden she's got undead sickness. And they're like, what's wrong with her? She's narcoleptic now and falls asleep everywhere. And she's pale.
To everyone's credit, they were like, that bitch is napping. I'm gonna nap here too.
Oh, hey, but they napped outside. Okay, the only place I've ever napped outside is on the beach. And because I know that it'll get so hot, I'll wake up. I'm not going to be out there. And they slept for hours. If it's really close to sundown and you know you're not supposed to be outside, they wouldn't have taken naps like that. And then they're like, oh no, we're in trouble. Then they say, it's okay, we'll take the shortcut through the woods. Most famous last words. What do you mean, take the shortcut through the woods?
I learned that when I was like 3 and I was watching Ernest Scared Stupid. You don't go through the woods.
Children know that because of Hansel and Gretel.
Right?
At least not without some freaking breadcrumbs. And they did not have bread.
Okay, let's just run through this really quick. So they're running through the woods. They run into brother, but first they see Ragu, and Ragu's like, ooh, look, I'm a scary guy with long dick fingers. Run away. And Stefan saves them, of course. And then I think that confrontation between the brothers is what causes the slap fight that they have. And that's over that damn regenerating wax candy bottle bloodstone thing. But Disheveled Santa saves Stefan because they're working together, and he takes him back to the place where he sleeps in the fortress, which is like above the rooms where he can look directly into the girls' rooms too, which is
disgusting.
Like, not creepy at all. But Stefan has completely fallen in love with this girl. He just can tell by looking at her that she's the one. He's willing to cut all of his brother's dick fingers off for her. So him and the skid mark Santa start building weapons. They make like some rosary bead bullets and stakes, all kinds of shit. And then they get a doctor to look at Blonde One, who is now acting severely anemic. But while all this is happening, the disheveled Santa gives Stefan a pep talk, and that's where Stefan admits like he's in love with this chick.
The old guy says to him, "You're falling in love," and he's like, "She's different." And I was like, "Is it because she's not blonde? She's the only one who's not blonde. Is that why?"
Michelle. It's Michelle, by the way.
Okay, it's Michelle. I called her Bella because it seemed like some Bella and Edward shit.
But I prefer Stefan.
I don't prefer either. I prefer dickfingers, okay?
Um,
I'm gonna go with the chaos in this situation because it's a terrible movie otherwise.
You're telling me if you had to choose between Stefan, Edward, and Dickfingers, you choose Dickfingers. You know he's gonna let those little red boys fuck with you, right?
You know,
and he's gonna chew on you at nighttime.
It doesn't matter what my choice is because I'm good. I'm either gonna Van Helsing all of them or I'm gonna unalive myself.
All right.
I choose the doctor because he was such an awesome character and he's so interesting.
Solid boy. Actually, my favorite character was the stag lady who got murdered by Ragu.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, because she was all up in their face threatening them.
I like it. She's badass.
She's like, "Get the fuck out of here, Stefan. Nobody needs your fucking high coiffed ass. Fuck off." And I appreciate that about her, but she did get eaten. So
yeah, she got ate.
And that happens because after all this shit happens and fuck it, Ragu is draining blonde one. And then Stefan's like, "You all need to get the fuck out of here." I mean,
that is how he sounds.
You gotta go. You gotta go. Then when he's alone, he's like, "My heart."
Why are you ghosting my man? Leave him alone. Leave Stefan alone.
For some reason, it's okay to go to this vampire festival where Ragu starts eating people. They're pretty much set on they're going to do it because it's part of their folklore thing. And of course, Ragu's there to get his dick fingers wet. So he kills the stag chick.
I'm so sorry.
And then he starts eating blonde too. Okay, so Ragu obviously finishes eating blonde number 1. He's not interested in that stag bitch. He's just like, whatever, I'm going to slit your throat or whatever, be done with it. And he takes blonde number 2 to some like weird sex dungeon that he keeps her in. And her clothes are all ripped up and her titties are falling out. So I think that there's supposed to be this idea that she can be saved, but she's been chewed on by a vampire. I don't really think that's gonna happen. When the first blonde dies, there's this whole conversation between Krusty Santa and Michelle about, "I don't want to cut her head off. That's terrible." Because the stag lady rolls out in front with her head cut off on some wagon. And so they just bury her. Like there's not going to be any consequences to that. And the big showdown, Stefan, he's pissed nobody left town like he asked them to. So he puts his girlfriend and Krusty Santa in a church and goes to fight Ragu. But Ragu's moved, of course, because he may have dick fingers, but he's not dumb. Stefan has this big reveal while they're in the church, and he tells her all this shit about how he's actually a vampire, but he's only half bros with Ragu, so he's been deprived of the dick finger gene. But he still doesn't admit that he wants to bang this chick into the center of the earth. Instead, he just acts emo and fucks off and tells her to stay with Krusty Santa. And of course, that always works. Like when you tell the romantic interest to stay put somewhere, never fail.
Respectfully, even if I wasn't the love interest, if I was to put myself in a situation like this at this stage of any fucking crazy encounter, if you're trying to tell me what to do, I'm not gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna do what I feel like I need to do to survive. Fuck you and your gorgeous face.
My ass would have been on the train like 3 days ago. So
yeah,
period.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be in this situation.
I wouldn't have been there to begin with. But
right?
If I found myself there, I just woke up and I was in the middle of a horror movie plot, I'd be like, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
Peace. See ya. Well, apparently Ragu uses the first bitch to lure the girl out of the church. And then Stefan finally wakes up, lazy bitch. And now he finds out that his girlfriend's in the sex dungeon with the other girl and Ragu and all the big booty monsters. And then there's a sword fight.
That was my last note. A sword fight, really, my dude?
Santa brings all his vampire weapons and he tries to take on the bride of Ragu, but he dies, I think. Let's see. How did I put this? Okay,
Sounds
the
right.
feeble old man takes on Prego, which is who I called Bride of Ragu. And after freeing Stefan to sword fight, his superior fingered. Okay, so Stefan gets captured, but Ragu is a dusty old bitch, so of course he's good with a sword. And it takes a chandelier to put down both brides because apparently Santa also shoots like a fucking stormtrooper.
Was he trained for this? Or was he all that was left? And really, he just got sucked and he's like, I'll give it the old college try.
Well, I mean, he knew enough about firearms to make bullets with rosary beads in it. That's like above my pay grade, and I can shoot pretty good.
Maybe it's one or the other. You can either make the rosary bead bullets or you can shoot. You can't have both.
Maybe. The last note I have here is Stefan dismembers dickfingers and they have a smug, happy ending, but where are the thick demons?
Spoilers.
Bam.
Second movie.
They ate them. Oh, okay. I have some observations that I made while I watched this. First of all, Ragu sitting in the tree in the woods while the girls were trying to escape, literally just being a pasty asshole, thought that was scary. No.
Remember this stuff? Crazier than a tree full of owls. What about crazier than a tree full of ragoos?
Crazier than a tree full of dick fingers.
Dick fingers and dick toes.
Oh god, no.
Allegedly.
Okay. Allegedly. I really hate to be the person of this podcast who always seems to be able to compare things to like vaginas. I'm really sorry that has fallen on my shoulders, but like that bloodstone, they were treating it like a clit. And that's the only way these men could find the clit.
I mean, fair assessment.
Okay.
Co-signed.
Also, Ragu was very much giving Nosferatu with a lace front wig. That was totally glued down. I was very angry a lot during this movie because I'm just like, the girls were stupid. Don't fall asleep in weird places in a foreign
They're
country.
not
Don't leave your
stupid. They're smarter than you think, Steph. They're college students. They're smarter than you think. Oh my god. That line made me want to punch the TV.
It falls the same thing as every fucking horror movie. It's like, how many times do you have to be fucking captured by fucking dick fingers before you're like, oh, maybe we should have a plan before you go and get captured again and get fucking kidnapped, you dumb fucks. God damn.
Like, nobody ever makes a fucking plan. Like, nobody ever makes... Step one for the plan is leave. If that's not an option, come up something before you even leave the house. Like,
are they not aware of the dump truck demons?
Have to know. Just like the people in the state just know they're vampires. Like, hey, vampire bitch, I thought you stopped coming to this fucking festival. Why are you here again? I don't want to see your face. They just know. So, like, he has to know his brother's got dickies.
Dicky thickies.
No, my god, that's it. That's all I got. That's it. That's it.
I would say that overall, I will shit talk this movie, but I love it. There's a little part of me that loves it.
I kind of like it, and I will watch the second one because I need to know.
I think I'm gonna watch all of them. TBF.
Wait, how many are there?
There's at least 3.
Yeah, there's a Subspecies, Bloodstone, Subspecies 2, Bloodlust, Subspecies 3, Vampire Journals, and Subspecies 4, Bloodstorm.
Okay, so the one with the Bloodstone is obviously a porn.
Vampire Journals is a spinoff featuring the vampire Ash.
Wait,
I don't know that vampire.
Maybe they come in a different Subspecies movie. But I just want to know, where does Full Moon get off making all of these fucking continuations of their movies? I feel like it would hold more weight unless it's like really good if they would just make one and leave it that way. And in some cases, like the case with Ooga Booga, not make it and just leave that one in the think tank.
Right. Somebody just needed to tell him to leave that one on the table.
I'm so sorry to be this guy, but they were probably all white and didn't know how to tell this white guy not to do this and be racially sensitive. They don't want to be that white guy, even though they should.
So I think this movie is their like height though, because even though it only has 6 reviews, they have 83% on Rotten Tomatoes for critics.
What?
So
wait,
audience score not so much, but fuck the audience. Please.
No, they literally got the Full Moon Army together for that shit. They infiltrated Rotten Tomatoes.
Let's rate this comparative to the ones that we have watched. What would you say, Steph? Let's just do this month because that's easier because Nate doesn't have the other
number
ones.
Number one.
What about you, Nate?
I would put Baby Oopsie probably above this. It's fucking boring.
I'm gonna agree. I hate to do this to you, Steph, but I would say Bad Channels, Oopsie, this definitely Evil Bong, like on the floor.
Yeah. Like Evil Bong was shit.
I appreciate Stripper Purgatory. Every time those words come together, it's just a symphony in my brain. I love it.
Evil Bong just felt like someone did for like a school project.
That's a fair assessment.
I would have done that. Like if there weren't so many sequels, I would make one.
Yeah. I do want to watch the Ginger Dead Man one though.
I'm mad at you. I was so high when we were recording Evil Bong. For you letting me continuously yell Evil Dead Man. I had to cut it out so many times. When I heard the first one, I was like, that's not right.
I wasn't even stoned and I didn't notice, dude.
No, me neither.
Like, yeah, the Evil Dead Man. I even cut you off at one point. And I was like, shut the fuck up. You can find this podcast on Twitter at GITM Podcast. And you could also find it online at
ghostinthemagazine.site.
you can follow me on Twitter at Wintex Pudding.
And you can follow me at Nocturnical.
Yeah, Bad Ben Pimp 69. Bam.
Okay, bye.